James Wilson says walks in snow. Okay, James, I see you. I hear you. Where are you from? All right. I've never been to Maine, but I've been out of the country 5 times. Okay, nice. Well, at least you've been out of the country, Joshua, because some persons in Maine, they've never left the state of Maine. And it was, it was very surprising for me. Yeah, they've never left the state of Maine. You have Portland all the way down there, and then what was close to Portland? I don't even know what was. I don't know, but yeah, some of them never reach at the border. Then don't even go down to Portland in Maine. So it's nice that you've left the country at least five times. It's not nice. Yeah, Scott. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I remember one day I was driving on the ice and they had a blizzard, and so I was driving home and I think I was the first person to go outside. Yeah, man. And was driving. At the time, I had a four-wheel drive, and I think it's still the best car to drive. And I tell you, I just feel the car just going left. It was a good thing I was the only person on the road, but I never panicked. I never panicked. I kind of just correct and take my little time until I get back on the road. But it's not like I was driving that fast because I never really know much about, driving on the ice. But I know I was just supposed to be careful. So I wasn't really going that fast, but I never really expected it. So you just have to be very, very careful out there. Okay, it's very cold over that side. Yeah, a lot of places very cold except California right now. Yeah, so just be careful out there. There's a lot of things going on. Hi, Serenity. How are you doing? Thank you so much for saying that. Biker dude, hello, welcome. As you're here, remember to double tap and subscribe to the channel, okay? Yeah, I share nursing information and other information that you can probably relate to. All right, so just be a part of the team and welcome. All right. Mervin. Okay. Do we have any nurses here that are joining in? All right, you need to go, Mr. Let me put you. All right, so if you don't have anything good to say when you come on the live here, I really do appreciate everything that persons are doing. But if you don't really have anything much to say on the live here, some things we can keep to ourselves, I think. There's a time and place for everything. So thank you so much for stopping by, really do appreciate that. All right. Hi, Sadie. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Yes, Liv. Thank you. All right. So let me talk to you regarding the graduate program. All right. So there was one person who had asked about the graduate program and how I got in as a Jamaican immigrant. Okay, Scott, no problem. I guess I'll just continue talking then. All right. So if you are interested in any of the graduate program, or if you're interested in going back to school in general, it's a number that you can call and share your day in the life if you want to. It's a number that you can dial now and just talk with me and share with the viewers anything that you think you'll be able to give to my viewers that will impact them. If you just want to call in and ask how I'm doing, feel free to do so. Okay. All right. But if you are planning on going back to school or anything, it doesn't have to be a nursing program you're going to be doing. There is always, thank you. There is always information online that you can always, research. So depending on the school that you're going to, you can choose just about any school. And it can be online, it can be, in person. So depending on what you're looking for, always research and find out. But there are certain things that you definitely want to look up is whether or not, the program is recognized. So that is one thing you definitely want to look at, because you don't want it to be a case where you do a program and then if you're supposed to be doing, any form of licensing, you're not able to get licensing for it. So it doesn't make sense you do a program and then it's like you waste your money, so just make sure you're looking at that. Find out, if it's going to be a program where you definitely need to be in person, like say half of the time, or at least once a month, whatever it is. Because some programs, depending on what you're studying, will definitely say, okay, then we need you for in person, like clinical practice, or you're definitely just doing everything online. So, like for my school, when I was doing my master's program, hi, Def, thank you. When I was doing my master's program, I did it with a specific university. At the time, I was with one college, and that college wanted me to, come in at least it would be like roughly once a month, or no, 1 month out of the year, but it would be at different time periods. So like, every term you would go in for 1 week. So because I know I wasn't going to be staying in that state, I decided to switch over to a full online program. And so that worked out for me, because doing traveling, I was still able to go ahead and still do my assignments regardless of what state I was in, so you don't want anything that is going to be holding you back um progressing with your program. All right, so Kadim, uh yes, so Marsha T says it must be accredited and credited in both areas too. Many schools are training are accredited, but the courses are not accredited, especially to transfer and or recognize. Thank you so much, Marsha, for saying that. Yeah. So just make sure we're researching, because as I say, you don't want to be a case where you finish and then it never really work out in your favor. It's more like a waste of money for you, So make sure you're looking at that. Another thing you definitely want to look at is how for online programs, for me, I never really did an online program before. So if it's going to be something new for you, you definitely need to go on Google and just get some information regarding, the process. How are you going to be turning in your assignments, things like that. Just go online and see different university and see how students are talking about, like, the process for getting their work in. All right. So, hi, Galata. Thank you so much. Well, good morning to you, but it's good evening for me because it's almost 7 o'clock here. But thank you so much for tuning in. All right. Before you do the application, though, you definitely need your transcript. You definitely need your transcript from your nursing school or the university you were going before, in terms of your undergrad program. And then you'll send that over. Most of the time, the university or the college you'll be going, they definitely want you to have the university mail that over to them. All right. I had used Parchment. I think it was Parchment. There's this website named Parchment, and you just sign up for it. And what they do is they'll send the information over. You can do the online or you can do mail. They do electronic and mail transcript. All right, so you can do that. And then you're definitely going to need letters of recommendation. All right. And then I did spoke with someone. Good night, Scott. Enjoy. Oh, no, 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 no. You're still here. Thank you. You definitely need at the time, I spoke with someone regarding my the program, just so they can have an idea of why you want to. Well, you explain to them why you want to, be pursuing that, and it kind of give you an idea as to, the breakdown of the different programs. So for example, for me, I started out with FNP program, and they'll tell you how the curriculum is. And then for some programs, depending on, if it's a program that has a lot of persons applying for it, then you might end up doing like a down payment for holding the spot. All right. So that was something that we discussed, and then they discuss with you, like, just the expectations for your courses, and how to use the library and all of those things. So they kind of give you a detailed rundown as to what's expected in the program. All right, Marsha T says, be your own education advocate. Ask question, listen, seek mentors, advice, mentorships. All right, I advise many to put in volunteer hours, especially in the desired career field if available, but volunteer. That is so true. That is so true. And when you volunteer as well, by the end of the day, what will happen is that, especially if you're, if you, so for example, some persons volunteer at the hospital and do certain things, depending on your work ethic and how you present yourself, after you finish, then you might just end up landing a job just because of, the persons you were working with. They know you, they know what you're about, and they will be more willing to work with you after you've graduated and all. So it's always nice to volunteer. And as she says, make sure you're asking questions. If you don't know anything, still go ahead and ask it. And even if you think that your questions are not that important, go ahead and ask it, because you might be surprised that probably 10 other persons thinking along the same line, and you might just be the bold person to go ahead and ask the one question that nobody wants to ask. So go ahead and ask question. And remember, it's always going to be online. It's going to be adult learning. It's adult learning. So don't feel as though anybody is going to come and baby spoon you. No, you have to go out there and get your information. Thank you so much, Amori. You have to go out there and get your information for your course. So it's not something where they're going to come and tell you that, okay, read this paragraph and, interpret it. No, you have to go out there and source your information for your program. So if you want to go and waste your time, then that's up to you. But, that's a lot of money you'll be wasting. So just go out there and make sure that whatever you're going to be doing, it is, it is something that you definitely want to do. And you're going to put your entire time, as much as you possibly can, into those programs. All right. And we already talked about, that. Another thing that with my program, I was encouraged to go ahead and like up the live, people. Please go ahead and like up the live. All right. And if you're checking out the page, remember to just subscribe as well in the meantime. All right. Then there's a section where, you definitely, as I say, you want to look at the cost, because there's so many different programs, online that are offering the same thing. And you also have a lot of persons, that are offering the same thing. And so you want to make sure that you are getting the best value. So you want to make sure you're getting the best education. At the end of the day, you don't want it to be a case where you go and do this program over here and you spend so much money doing the program, and then at the end of the day, as I say, it's not recognized, versus if you probably check out another location, you probably spend less and it works out a little bit better for you. So just make sure you're looking at the fees and everything. Some university, you have to pay like an application fee. You want to look at how much it's going to cost in terms of the credits. You also want to look at if it's a case where you're definitely going to be doing clinicals, whether or not, they'll be providing clinical sites, or if it's going to be a case where you're going to have to pay out of your pocket. Because for the nurse practitioner program, I know a lot of persons are spending a lot of money trying to get clinical sites going, their clinical experience going. So you definitely want to factor in all of that into, when it comes down to your financial responsibility. Marsha T says, IT, it helps the resume, and it's not who you know at times, but who see you and know your willingness and drive. Dedication, commitment, focus on the goals ahead is essential to your education. That is so true. That is so true. All right. So dedication, commitment, and focus. Those are key. All right. And your willingness and drive, those are very important, because, sometimes you can have a cute face. Yeah, man, you can have a cute face and your body look good. and your brain not there, and you're probably not even willing to work, so just make sure that when you step out there, you go out there with an open mind. You go out there with an open mind, you ask question, and just be inquisitive, just be hungry, to learn. Just go out there and be very hungry to learn, get the information that you need, and you just go, you understand? So that way, at the end of the day, when it comes on to you applying for whatever job you're going for, at least, you can be amongst the one or two persons that are there, that they'll be selecting. So just make sure that when you go out there, it is something that you definitely want, and you go out there with an open mind, and just be willing to try or do as much as you possibly can to get your learning going, all right, or your education going. Holy Mindset TV says, where are you from? I'm from Jamaica. Have you been there? If not, you need to take a trip there, okay? Yes, Scott, learning is key and it's very important. Great advice, and you're a good mentor to others, enjoying your time to teach and advise those who are willing to listen. You are a superstar. Thank you so much, Marsha T. I really appreciate that. Galata, bless up to you too. And thank you so much, Chris, for saying that. You're beautiful and a great mentor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So that's one thing. Oh, another thing regarding financial responsibility or the requirements. Okay, yes, Holy mindset. Yeah, it would be nice to take a trip down there. It would be really nice to take a trip down there. All right. Um, so another thing you want to look at is, as I say, you look at, your financial responsibilities. So you look at how much you're going to be paying. There are different options that you can use in terms of getting your education. So depending on how you're, so for example, if you are single or if you are married, you don't have kids, and you feel as though you want to just work, and then pay as you go with your program, then that's something that you can do. You can always do payment plan in everything that you're doing. So if you don't want to take student loan, that is the best route to go. So that way, by the time you're finished, even if it takes you 3 years to get your master's, you won't be in any debt with any student loan. Student loan here in the US, I think the rate is pretty low. Let's just say the rate is pretty low. So that is something else you can think of if you want to go that route. And you also have where you can apply for scholarship. All right. Okay, no problem. No problem, Marsha. Thank you so much for tuning in and for giving those advice tips. All right, Marsha T. All right. So I definitely encourage you to look up those as well, scholarship and assistant programs that they have. All right, see, my university at the time, they have scholarships that they have offering to different persons in different programs. So you can always go on the website of whatever school you're going and just look up whatever scholarship programs they have and see if you qualify for it. And that's another way for you to do your program. When I was doing my undergrad program, I was working, and that was in Jamaica. So I did the work and study program. So I was working while in college. So that is another option if you are, so for example, doing your undergrad program, and you definitely need to make some money to help out with your school fees, or just general fees or anything like that. That's another option you can think of. All right. And I know this is America, so a lot of persons definitely can get jobs whether or not you're in school full time. There's always jobs available. And I know a lot of persons from my country, they usually come over here in the summertime, and and do get jobs to kind of help out with paying their tuitions back home. So that is something, if you're here in the States, I think you should be able to do it, because as I said, there are so many jobs available at our fingertips. So make use of it and see if that works out for you. Remember, it's going to be only for probably, like, say, 3 years you're going to be doing it for, until you're able to get your bachelor's or your master's or whatever you're pursuing. All right. So What about travel nurse? You never did that before. Well, I was doing travel nursing. So when I moved to the state here, I did a long-term contract from Jamaica to Maine. And if you haven't heard that story is in one of my videos that I uploaded previously. But I was doing that, and then I was doing travel nursing, throughout. Then I did local contracts only. I did a full-time job a year ago. Yeah, in 2023, I did a full-time job. But most of my jobs were travel nursing and local contracts. I never really sit down one place too long. Was always on the go. Do you know Aunt Donna in Jamaica? Just asking Chandel. I know her. Well, not personally know her, but I've been on her live. She's doing some really good job. Chandel. Yeah, she's doing some really good job. So I want to give a shout out to her if you know her. But yeah, I've subscribed to her channel, watch her live, and yeah, I really do enjoy watching and seeing what she's doing. All right. Yes. But yeah, so when I was doing travel nursing was really nice. It was really nice for me. I really enjoyed it a lot. So yeah. Hi Glenn, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you taking the time out. All right, so that is it regarding your financial requirements regarding the program. Another thing, when you're doing your program, some depending on the university that you're going to, if it's a program that, so for example, you did your undergrad program at that same university, and you're going to be doing your master's program, there are certain courses that are transferable. If you're going to go to another university, then yes, Naresh. If you're gonna go to another, if you're gonna go to another university, then definitely, some courses are transferable, but not all the time they're able to transfer all the courses. So just keep in the back of your mind that if you're just going to be starting out, just check to see if, so for example, you're planning on doing your master's, is that something that you want to do at that same university to benefit from some of the courses that you've done. All right. And once you're able to do that, then, feel free to go ahead. Or if you just feel as though you're going to be making a lot of money and you don't want to go back to that university and you want to go to somewhere else, then that's another option. But, there are different programs that, will accept transfers in terms of credit from other universities. So just look out for that as well. Oh, yes, people, welcome to the live, and double tap on the screen for me. All right. And if you haven't subscribed and you're leaving, just remember, go on the channel and subscribe as well. All right. All right. So that's another thing you definitely want to look at. All right. And as I said, there are certain things for example, when I was doing my master's program, there are certain programs or courses that, you have to do in order to get to the other one. So the prerequisite courses. So you have to get certain things done first. There's a specific order in which you have to do them. Can't be a case you're going to be doing, so for example, you have 5 courses. You can't be doing 5, then you jump on to number 2. You have to do them in a specific order. So you can look at that as well, the prerequisites that you definitely need for your program. And then when it comes on to application, there are certain deadlines that you still have to. Okay, no problem, Scott. You definitely would have to look at. All right, you have to look at your deadlines because remember, it's an online program. So a lot of times you might find yourself, getting a lot of emails. So you have to be checking your emails very frequently to make sure you're not missing out on any of your, your deadlines. You don't have to be missing any of your deadlines when it comes on to that. So make sure, you're checking your emails and the school email that is for any updates on anything. Because as I say, especially, because it's not a case where you're able to sit down and talk with anybody. So even if you're going through a certain situation, not all the time you're going to be able to reach out to those persons in a timely manner for them to say, okay, then we'll give you the blight this time, or we'll give you have a valid excuse or something. We're going to just say, okay, then we will go ahead and process your application. Not all the time that will work out. Sometimes it does. Just be mindful that, you don't want to be missing out any deadline. So mark those in your calendar to say, okay, then if you know that, assignments are due on a Wednesday, put in your calendar to say that a reminder for on Monday to say that, your assignments are due on Wednesday. Or if you know that you need to do your application for your clinicals in August, put it from August, not August, put it from July to say that the deadline is in August. So that way, you don't miss out anything. Um, all right. And then another thing that you definitely can do when you're thinking about your program is, try to connect with persons on, different areas. So for example, you want to go in and do your bachelor's, try and find persons that you can be a resource, just get them to answer certain questions, hear how things are going, their experience with certain things. Just ask them a lot of questions so that way when you're going in, you have a better idea as to what to expect. Don't let it be a case where you have certain questions and you don't have anybody to reach out to. It's always good to have some form of support. And so connecting with persons, just like on the YouTube here, if you find somebody that has information that is valid, or valuable to you in your career or your education, just go ahead and subscribe to their channel. You don't have to be like, sitting down and typing all the time and chatting with those persons. But there's going to be information that they'll share on their channel that might benefit you. So it's always nice to just kind of check in with them every now and again. Get information on that. And while you're doing an online program, not all the time you'll be able to talk with, your colleagues in your class. You're not going to be able to talk with them most of the time, but it's nice whenever you do get their number for those one or two specific, classes that you'll be doing in groups. You just reach out and connect with them, see how things are going, because at that time, you'll be able to talk about certain things that are happening in the program. As I said, sometimes persons are going through a situation and they feel as though they're the only person that is going through that, when really and truly probably myself is having the same issue, another person. You can actually come together as a group or as a team and address the situation. You send over information to, your faculty and get that situation resolved or attention being placed on it, because multiple persons are having the same challenge. So if you sit down and not knowing, and you don't have anybody to talk to, the problem is just going to be there all the time. You're not going to have the situation or the issue being resolved because nobody is attention to it. Hi, Frederica Felix. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, no problem. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing it. I really do appreciate you taking the time out and doing that. All right. And that's about it on like networking. And then another thing is, if, so for example, you're going to be doing not an online program, but you're going to be doing like, an in-person program, try to find out, if you can actually go over to the school and just kind of do a walkthrough of, the facility or the university, the campus, to see if it is something that you think will be safe for you. So you want to look at all of those when you're doing the in-person classes. Find out if it's something that is, gonna be best for you, or if you need to probably look at another company, or not company, but another university. All right, but most importantly, as I say, when you're choosing your program, the most important thing is to make sure that it is accredited. All right, make sure it is accredited, because you don't want to be spending 2, 3 years, 4 years doing a program and it not make no sense. All right, you can't be working so hard and not doing your research and then ending up spending all of this money, and at the end of the day you waste it completely. All right, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. All right, remember to double tap on the screen here. Okay, double tap on the screen. Do you guys have any questions for me? Please go ahead and put it in the comment section. All right, and then okay, thank you so much, Daniel, for tuning in. All right. And then the other thing is, so after your program, so depending on what program you're doing. I'm gonna start with, my NP program. When I did it, there are certain things that you definitely have to do in terms of your clinicals. When it comes on to documentation, you have to document on the university's portal, like the patients that you see on a daily basis. So one thing I would advise for persons to do, and my university encouraged it, was for you to go ahead and print out, like, all the patients that you've seen during your clinical experience, or your rotation. So you do that. Um, you do enter your patient's information and then you print it out. So that way, so for example, when you graduate and you can't get a job, or it's hard for you to get a job because everybody is saying, oh, you don't have enough experience, you don't have none. The only thing they see is, oh, you have 10 years as a registered nurse or whatever area you're in, and now you're finished, with your program, and they're saying, oh, we don't see any experience, we can't give you, we don't know what you treated, they don't know anything about that. At least that information that you print out, that you did each term for your practicum, at least you'll have that to say, okay, then, so some persons will be a little bit soft and be like, okay, then we'll take that into consideration, because, everybody is short, there's always going to be a shortage of everything. So what you can do is you'll just take it to them and say, okay, then this is what I did for my, my OB rotation, or this is what I did for my, my gynae rotation. This is what I did for my pediatric rotations. These are the patients that I see. So that way they can be like, okay, so you've treated a patient with, appendicitis, so that way they'll be able to probably ask you a few questions and just kind of just get some information, drag your memory a little bit, to see how much you remember in terms of the management. So that will kind of just help with, probably securing a job as well. It might not work out all the time, because when I printed mine, nobody had asked me for anything. I just go ahead and sell my nursing experience. I tell them, well, this is what I have, so I think I'm the best candidate right now. So you just have to go out there and sell yourself real good when you're looking for a job. Make sure that, you give as much information as you possibly can about your experience, after you graduate. So that way, at least somebody can sit down and say, okay, I'll take a risk with you. Just go out there and shine, so that person can actually take a risk with you and give you that job. And once you get the opportunity, now it's time for you to, lift up, go out there and be the best version of whoever you are, the nurse you are, the doctor you are, the teacher you are, when you get there. All right. So just make sure you're doing that. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, brown skin, hi, how are you doing? Brown skin says, how long are the prerequisites good for in Florida, and do I get credit for being a PCT? So honestly, brown skin, I am not so sure. I would say go ahead and check that out on the nursing board for Florida. All right. I never studied here in the US, my bachelor's. All right. I did my bachelor's in Jamaica. So I don't really know much about like the prerequisites and everything in the different states here, unfortunately. All right. Miss Portia G, thank you so much. Mrs. Portia G, thank you so much for tuning in. You're welcome. Okay, thank you so much for saying that. Um, you don't have to study yourself real good. You will benefit from iron practices. Okay. Okay. Well, when I say sell yourself in terms of, putting your information out there so persons can know exactly what you're about. Okay, please show about my name is Nikhil. Nikhil, thank you so much for tuning in. Um, all right. And thank you so much, Jason and Kev, for tuning in as well. Thank you for sharing. All right. So basically that's it with that part of, when you're getting into a program. There is this website after you finish, and this is for like nurse practitioners. Thank you so much, Jason. There is a website that you can go on and upload all of your information, and this is for the nurses. You know, you upload all your information, including your certifications, your DEA, NPI, all of those information. And you know, once you do that, it what was that? Oh, I think I put a video up on that as well. It's called CAQH. That's the website. You go ahead and sign up on that website. You upload all of your information on that website. And so for example, you go out to do an application for a job, you know, a lot of times, sometimes we might find out that we do applications and companies don't reach out to you because that website, if persons already uploaded their information, that's the first place employers are going to go to get information about you, and they can decide whether or not